Jai Gurudev. Jai Masters. Sometimes it's good to start at the bottom where we are and discuss working our way on. Sometimes it's refreshing to discuss where we could be and find out what we're not. What would happen if your mind wasn't talking all the time? Let's just honestly ask that question. What would happen if your mind wasn't talking all the time? What you would find is that you're present in the moment because there's nothing distracting you. Your consciousness is going to be aware of something at all times. That's the nature of consciousness. The nature of light is it shines on things. The nature of consciousness, it becomes conscious of things, aware of things. If your mind is talking, and it is, all the time, it distracts the consciousness so that that becomes what you're aware of. If you go into a restaurant, you don't experience the restaurant. You experience what your mind is saying about the restaurant. What are they serving? Do you like it? Is the music too loud? Is anybody smoking? Is it vegetarian? Is it the same chef as the time? There's just this dialogue going on inside. And so your consciousness is aware of that dialogue. How do you know you're aware of that dialogue? Because you hear it. If you weren't aware of it, then you wouldn't be aware of it. But you are aware of it, aren't you? All right? There's nothing wrong with it. This is not about right or wrong. It's just, if that is going on inside, it's like if you're trying to listen to music and there's static on the radio. Nothing wrong. Static's not evil. It's just it's very hard to hear the music because the static's in the way, and it's real hard to listen to the music through the static. I mean, theoretically you can do it, but the static distracts your consciousness, your awareness, so that you are aware of the static. Well, to whatever degree you're aware of the static, you're not aware of the music. To whatever degree you are aware of the dialogue that is going on inside your mind, you are then not aware of the circumstance, the situation, the reality, the experience that is unfolding in front of you. It's just that simple. There is a direct trade-off between how much you are listening to your mind and how much you are experiencing what's in front of you. In a moment, we'll talk about, well, maybe it's necessary to listen to your mind. We'll talk about that. I wanted to start at the top. What would happen if it wasn't talking? You would walk into the restaurant and you would experience what was there. Not judge it, not discuss it, not see if you like it, not see if you don't like it. Just experience it. Well, there are times, few, but there are times where you have that experience. Sometimes you're driving down the road and things are in your mind and you turn the corner and the sun is setting or the moon is rising. And it's phenomenal, isn't it? It's just right at the road in front of you and it's giant, like the harvest moon, right? And there's all these colors in the sun, purples and everything. And it takes your breath away. It doesn't just take your breath away, it takes your mind away. During that moment, when your breath is taken away, you are maybe even as much as 100% of your consciousness is experiencing the experience in front of you. How's it feel? You call it a spiritual experience. You go back and write in your diary. You tell people about it. You want to go have it again. It's like, oh my God, it made my day. But it was 10 seconds, doesn't matter. That's how powerful having the experience is compared to listening to your mind. Sometimes it's not a sunset. Sometimes you're in the arms of someone who you feel so close to and you melt in that intimacy. And the next thing you know, you come back and you don't know where you were and you couldn't care less. And maybe you've experienced that. You just melt into the moment because you're so comfortable and safe and open to the moment that your mind is not saying anything. So there are these moments that you experience where the mind stops, where your consciousness experiences the reality that is unfolding in front of you. They're what Maslow means by a peak experience. They are what you look for in life. You go your entire week, so maybe you have a weekend, so out of your entire weekend, maybe 10 minutes, maybe you can have a special moment. They're called special moments, aren't they? They're spiritual. What do you think happens when somebody happens to have a deep meditation? Their consciousness does not have to be aware of their mind. At that particular time, what the consciousness is aware of in the highest meditation is the consciousness is aware of being conscious. It doesn't think about it. It's just, everything stops and it's just there. And it's so peaceful, so beautiful. That's why people meditate. All right? All you have to do is have one good meditation for 20 seconds and you'll keep meditating. Because it's that much more beautiful than anything you experience in your life. So that is what happens when your consciousness is not distracted by the commotion, the dialogue that is going on in your mind. It doesn't matter whether it's in meditation, whether it's in the sunset, whether it's in the moonrise, or whether it's in the restaurant, or whether it's at work, or whether it's in class. You can live in that state. Like if I asked you, you've had many breaths since you were born, I know you have. What percentage of the breaths that you've had across your entire life were during a state like that? Want to give me a percentage? You have to use scientific notation. 3 to the 10 to the minus 6,000. You hear me? It's like 0.0000. Seriously, let's look at it. People like to think they're high. Let's talk about high. High is when you live there. High is, that's what happens when you wake up, and that's what happens throughout your entire day. If you're brushing your teeth, it is the same as if you are in the arms of someone who loves you and you love so much, and it's your first kiss, and you're just completely melting. That's where it is. That is what your life is meant to be. In other words, it's not what's happening. It's the degree to which you're experiencing what's happening. A storm can blow your mind, can't it? When it gets all black and then there's this tornado touching front at a distance, I hope. All right, it's touching down over there. It's like, you get like, whoa, you're really quiet. Awesome, beautiful. These are the moments of life. Why? Because you're experiencing them. It is not because of the moment. Someday you're going to catch on. It has very little to do with what's actually happening out there. It has to do with the degree that you're experiencing what's happening out there. Let's say it's raining. It can do that to you. The rain can be so beautiful. It just falls down and it makes noise and it splashes and you're just so present you can't even come back. Careful, but driving your car can do that. Like the cars are going by and the trees are going by and the clouds are going by. And like, whoa. So I told you I would start tonight from up there and we can work our way back as to why we're not there instead of the mess where we are and see how to get out. So that is a very simple way to look at a high state. You're present. You're there. Your consciousness is not distracted by the noise that's going on in your mind. Therefore, your consciousness is able to experience the fullness of what's taking place. I am telling you, you can look at a color and have trouble coming back. I could play one note on this piano and you'd go into ecstasy and wonder what I played. It must have been Beethoven. If you are willing to merge your consciousness into the moment, the sound, the sight, color, shape, doesn't matter, you're gone. It's a beautiful, precious experience. I'm not asking for much. I just want you to have that all the time. Now, why don't I have that all the time? Surely you have experiences unfolding in front of you, colors, shapes, sounds, all the time, don't you? Why is it not doing that to you? There's only one reason. Because of the noise of your mind. The noise of your mind is distracting your consciousness so that you're experiencing that. So you could say to me, you're logical people, well, if I'm fully experiencing the noise of my mind, why isn't that beautiful? Why is that not the same as experiencing the sun or experiencing anything else? Okay? Well, it has a little something to do with what your mind is saying and why it's saying it. Like I'm telling you, If I could create outside almost every moment of your life the things that bother you the most, whatever experiences you had in your life that were traumatic to you, that were problematic to you, that were scary to you, that hurt you, that were difficult to experience, if I could remind you of those all the time, what would your life be like? I'm going to be a mean guy and just make it so that every time you look around, something like that is reminding you of who died and who dumped you and what happened, and parents were fought and scared you and they got divorced. Oh my God, all these things just constantly going on in front of you. You'd have me arrested. That's not nice. Don't do that to me. That is what your mind is doing to you. And don't you doubt it one iota. That personal mind, I'm not talking about when you're thinking about math or something like that. I'm talking about just the everyday chatter, the dialogue that is going on in your mind, got there somehow, because it is not natural. That is not supposed to be going on in there. There's a reason that there's all that noise. What is that? In the past, you've had experiences that were not comfortable to you. You didn't digest them. They got caught inside your mind. You know they did. All right? They're still in there. They are trying to release themselves. It's like trying to put your finger over a tea kettle that's whistling. Don't do it. The energy needs to go somewhere. It's going to cause trouble. If you store all these events from the past that you're uncomfortable with, anything from really, really difficult things to the fact that the food when you ate last time was bitter or wasn't cooked exactly the way you like it. Every little thing. Do you think you don't store that? Hey, you want to go over and eat it at so-and-so? Nah, no. Last time I ate there, oh no, I don't want. That was 4 years ago. It changed hands. No, I don't want to go. Why? It has nothing to do with reality. It has to do with the fact that you stored this inside your mind. It's irrelevant. It's not meaningful, but you did. And now that you've stored that inside your mind's not going to let you eat there. All right? And if you do eat there, it's going to complain every single step of the way. It's going to say, I know they're going to be bad. I'll do it because they want to go. But I'm telling you, this is going to be terrible. That's what it's going to do. Isn't it? Okay. So why is it doing that? Is it evil? No. You have stored this. I always beg you to understand one thing. You did it. It is not the natural way of things. You stored inside of you bad events that happened to you before. But they did happen. Yes, they did happen. But nobody made you store them. They're over. They're over. They happened. They're gone. You're not in a restaurant anymore for 4 years. It doesn't need to be inside of you. There's no reason to store. I'm going to address this at length. I've checked it very carefully for many years, 45 years I've watched this. There is no reason for that to be stored inside of you. It is not doing any good in any shape or form, period, nothing. It's like if you had a bad meal at a restaurant 4 years ago, you're not eating anymore, and it's not sick anymore, so now it's over. You didn't feel good, you didn't like it. Not even sick, you just didn't like it. Okay? That's done. Now have your next experience. Don't store that. But what happens if I need to have it? Why would you need to have it? Well, maybe somebody will ask me to another restaurant and maybe it will be bad. You don't know. Why are you doing that? Now you're going to destroy your experience of every restaurant because once you went out to eat and it wasn't the way you wanted. No, I like to eat at home. Okay. It's limited your life. So it is not the experience that matters. The experience did not mess you up. The fact that you stored it inside, that's what messed you up. You didn't let the experience be over when it was over. I'm telling you, that's the theme of this thing. You got to get that. You can't say the experience did it. No, the experience is over. It doesn't keep happening over and over again every minute of every day. Even divorces. Why did you bother getting divorced? You didn't get divorced inside. You're still doing the same arguments over and over again. It's just amazing. Fine, you got married, it didn't work out, you got divorced, fine. You don't want it in there anymore, it's gone. Thank God, muzzle tough, gone, bye-bye. It's over, sign the paper, right? Why did you bother getting divorced if you're going to continue to let that bad relationship run your life? And you know it will, because you're going to store every single thing in there that you didn't like. You're going to store every fight you had. You're going to store every little nuance about that person. And now when you start to go out with somebody else, your mind's going to say, oh my God, that's just what Tom did. He's just like my ex. No, he's not. He didn't even know your ex. He's not anything like your ex. You're like your ex. Because you stored it inside of you. And now the events that are happening outside are stimulating those thought patterns, and you're projecting them onto the situation. This is why your mind talks all the time. You have stored this stuff from past experiences inside of you. It will not stay in there. It is not natural. It has energy. It needs to release. Therefore, it keeps coming up in the form of that dialogue, in the form of what I like and what I don't like, and what should be happening, and where am I going to be comfortable, and do I want it? Just all the noise. You know what? When it says, what do I want, what do I not want? You know what it's really saying? I don't want to have that experience again. I don't want to have that experience again. What? The one I stored in here that's now making my mind decide what it likes and what it doesn't like. So either I don't want to have the experience again, or I do want to have the experience again. See, to me, like and dislike, exactly the same. There's no difference between like and dislike. Why is that? If you don't like something and you store it inside of you, it will ruin your life. If you like something and you store it inside of you, it will ruin your life. Maybe we should discuss that. Something took place. Somebody came up and talked to me, and they weren't nice. They weren't feeling good. It wasn't a nice experience. So I stored that inside of me. Next time I see that person, yucky feelings go on inside of me. I don't have anything to do with them. Next time somebody says their name, even if it's not that person, that name the same, all these icky feelings come inside of me. So I just ruined my life. I ruined my experience. I got yucky stuff going on inside of me. I can't be friends with certain people. I can't be friends with someone who's a friend with someone who knows that person. Don't kid yourself. It gets really messy, all right? The minute you store negativity inside of you, it comes up all over the place. It just like spreads out. Next thing you know, it's causing disturbance. All right. So that's why if you store things that you don't like inside, eventually you'll store enough of them where you'll be afraid to go outside. You're afraid to meet people, afraid to give talks in public, afraid to put your clothes on because you might be wearing the wrong thing. Change them 6 times before you go out. Afraid to have your hair done, because it might not come out the way that somebody might like. And you know a lot of people. So there's probably no way they all would like it. So now you're really neurotic about it. I hope you're laughing because you see it. If you store experiences inside of you, they will ruin your life. Why do storing good experiences ruin my life? When you were 14 years old, you had a relationship with some guy, and it was just really cute and really beautiful. And then his parents moved away before you had your first fight, so you didn't know about those. And he went away, and his name was Peter. And Peter is like, whoa. And it was really neat, and he used to give you little things and do little special things. And he'd call like 15 times in a row, because he was 14, you know. And all this stuff was going on, and you got this thing inside of you. Well, isn't that sweet? No. Well, you mean my relationship with Peter wasn't sweet? No, your relationship with Peter was beautiful. But I don't want you going out looking for Peter again in every single relationship you have. I don't want you comparing at all, ever, how Peter was versus how your 32-year-old person is. All right? I'm not interested. You've stored this thing inside of you, and you know what you said when you stored it inside of me? This is what I want. You know what you said when you stored the bad thing inside of you? This is what I don't want. Very simple, isn't it? This is what I want. This is what I don't want. That's what happens when you store them inside. They automatically determine a value system inside of you. It says, this is how I want people to be. This is how I want things to be. This is what I don't want to happen, and I don't want people to be. Now what happens? You can't walk into the world. They did it really simple. I won't belabor it. Just that simple little thing I said. Now when you walk into the world, guess what you're doing? You don't even want to experience reality. You want to find what you're looking for. You want to find Peter, or someone who acts like Peter, an older version of Peter. You're actually looking. You're looking to see their behavior patterns. You're not experiencing what's happening. You're trying to experience what already happened before. That's why it ruins your life. Why? It's not going to happen again. It was a spontaneous experience that was very beautiful. And I guarantee you, if when you were 12, you had an experience before Peter, you wouldn't have had the experience with Peter because you would have been looking for that guy in Peter, and he's not the guy. So that's what happens if you like something and you store it inside and say, that's what I want again. It's not going to happen again. If I turn the corner and I see that sunset and it blows my mind, it's so beautiful, my heart pops open and I'm like drunk driving home. Please don't go back the next day and bring your friends. It's not going to work out. The colors will not be the same. It might be cloudy a little bit. And all you're going to be saying is, oh, it was much more purple. Right or wrong? Come on, blush. All right? I want it because I'm telling you I've done it. It's not going to be the same. It's a totally different experience in reality. The weather is different. The timing is different. The earth is different. Everything is different. But inside of you, nothing's different. Inside of you, you have taken a Kodak moment of this beautiful picture that you had. Good, I'm glad it was nice. I want you to have nice experiences. Then let them go so you can have more. Because the more you store inside of you and say, this is what I want to have, the less nice experiences you will have. Because I'm telling you, when you turn that corner, if you had a preconceived notion of what you were looking for, you would not have been blown away by that sunset. And the intimate ones, that's all the more so. There is no time that anyone will kiss you that will be the same as the last time they did, especially the first kiss. We know about that. All right? Stop it. Let everything be whole and complete within itself. Say thank you for the experience and then be open for the next one. That's how a great being lives. They are not looking to repeat the experience, any of them. And likewise, when you have a negative experience, there's nothing wrong with having a negative experience. What does it mean? It didn't feel good. Of course, things don't feel good. Lots of things don't feel good. Have the experience. Then let it go. It doesn't have to be in there anymore. You don't have to do anything about it. You have the experience when it's happening, and then you let it go so that you can have the next experience. But that is not how we live. We take the ones that we liked, and we want them to happen again. And so we're looking outside, and then we miss what's actually there. We take the ones that we don't like, and what do? We look outside to make sure they're not happening. We actually look for them. If you go to a party after recently you broke up with somebody, your mind's saying, oh God, I hope he's not there. I hope she's not there. And what do? When you go there, you actually look for them. Is she here? I hope she's not here. And you catch on. That's why it is a mess in there. There's no other reason. It doesn't have to be more complicated. It is a mess in there because you made it a mess in there. You stored these past experiences and said you either want to have them again or you don't want to have them again. That's where you get your system of like and dislike. So we ruin our lives because what we did with our mind. And what we did with our mind is the natural result of storing inside the events that already happened instead of letting them go. All right. So there's the framework of understanding why you're not at the high state. If you were at the high state, you would not be doing that. Events will be unfolding in front of you. You would be experiencing them, interacting with them, and then when they were over, outside, they're over inside. I told you. At one point years ago, I like to aim high with my bar. I said to Mickey, we're going to do that. He said, what? What now? You've done so much with me. What do we have to do now? When it's over outside, it's over inside. Try it. Because that ain't natural, is it? That isn't what the mind wants to do, right? But play with it. You have to be good at it. Just play with it. When it's over outside, it's over inside. When it stops raining, there's no noise. When the relationship is over and there's some disturbance, then it's over. Give it a little time, and then it's over. It's not going to be in there for the rest of my life. There's no way ever that that's taking place. You got to get serious. You wouldn't keep eating food that made you sick, would you? No. Why do you keep doing something in your mind that's making you sick? And so you wake up. All right. So now I've laid down the gauntlet of saying the only thing you have to do to reach a beautiful high state of experiencing every moment of your life fully, totally, richly, is to do something about this mind that you have going on in there, and we know what to do. Stop storing the stuff. Now, what your mind's going to say is, but don't I need to think about things? Isn't there a benefit to think about things? I swear I'm going to shock you. My experience is, no. If I meet somebody and I enjoy the experience and we decide we'll meet again tomorrow, There is nothing for me to think about between now and tomorrow. And anything I do think about is going to ruin tomorrow. I'm just going to make myself neurotic. What should I do? What should I wear? Can I call in between? Maybe oh my God, it's just going to drive you crazy, isn't it? All right? So that when you go in to have your tomorrow, you will not be open. You will not be clean. You will have had the conversation 15 times about what they're going to say and what you're going to say and what you're going to wear and where you're going to go. And what are you doing that for? Why, in truth, let's look at this. You met that person. You didn't know them. You didn't even know you were going to meet them. You bumped into them at Publix. Well, you didn't worry about what you're going to wear. You didn't even know you're going to meet them. You didn't do anything to make it happen. The real experiences in life are the ones that happen to you, not the ones you conjure up and try to make happen, because the very act of conjuring them up and trying to make happen ruins them. It is the spontaneity of the moment that takes place that touches your being. So you realize, I don't need all that neurosis. Tomorrow will be tomorrow, and when it's time to go out, I'll make sure I'm wearing something reasonable, and then I'm excited to see what's going to happen. That is so clean. It's so beautiful. In other words, bring the wholeness of your being into the moment, not the neurosis of what you figured out. When I was up in early days, I was traveling in my van, and I'd pull over and meditate. I just park on a spot in the middle of the woods and stay there for a week and meditate for hours, right? And I once was invited. I met these people, and they let me stay in the fields behind their house. And I would come up, they'd let me come into the house, and I came up, and I remember this one girl, I'll never forget, this is back in 73 or something, I'll never forget. She just said to me, I watch you in the van out there, you just sit there for hours. I said, I'm meditating. She said, well, what do you think of? I said, hopefully nothing. And what she said to me, I'll never forget, she said, if I sat down for 1 hour, I will have lived my entire life in my mind. Not so far off, is it? If I sat down alone for 1 hour, I would have planned my whole life out and determined what was going to happen. And, OMG, that's unbelievable. Of what purpose is that? It's not what's going to happen. So you just made a mess of that hour. You could have had a beautiful hour. Why would that happen? There's a good insight to you. Why is it doing that? Instead of being quiet and letting me experience the beauty of being outside and experiencing nature. It is because of fear. The reason you plot and plan and think all these things out is because you are afraid. That's why you worry. What is worry? I'm afraid I won't get what I want. I'm afraid I'll get what I don't want. It's fear. What is all this planning and plotting? Oh my God, I got a job interview. What will I say? What if he asks me this? What am I going to do? What should I wear? What if I'm uptight and I'm afraid to talk? And I get like that sometimes. What are you doing? You're making yourself sick. Why? Because I'm scared. You need to give a talk in public. You're going to give a talk in school or business or something like that. You know the material. You wrote the material. You're a person, right? So you're going to go up there. What's your mind doing? What if I blow it? What if I forget? Oh my God, sometimes I forget things. What if I forget in the middle and they will laugh at me? And, oh my God, this could be terrible. What are you doing? I'm being afraid. I'm telling you, the vast majority of every single thing that personal self is talking about is the expression of fear. I am not okay in here, and I'm afraid, and I'm trying to think my way through it. If I think enough, I don't have to be afraid. You're completely wrong. If you don't think and you bring consciousness to bear and you be present in the moment, you're bringing the highest part of your being into the job interview. You're bringing the highest part of your being into giving the lecture publicly. Now, I'm not telling you, if you don't know the material, I'm talking about the personal mind, not the intellectual mind. If you don't know the material, study the material. But while you're studying the material, don't say, oh my God, what if I forget this? That's the personal mind. Studying the material is your intellectual mind. Of course you're supposed to be prepared. Of course you come into the moment to bring the best that you have. Nobody's saying you don't use your mind. We are talking about the static, the personal mind that is in there worrying about what you're doing and what you're not doing and whether you blow it and what do you want and what do you not want and why can't I have it, blah, 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 blah. That thing is ruining your life. So you start to realize it really is fear that is causing this. Well, now we've gone a long way. We talked about how it could be really beautiful. Really beautiful. When you go to give that talk to your class or business, whatever it is, it should be one of the neatest experiences you ever had. There should be this enthusiasm and joy. I can't wait to get there and share with the people. That's what you're doing. You know, you're not really going there so they like you, right? You just get to the point. You look at the difference between the personal and the impersonal. When you go to work, you are not going to work to be liked by the other employees. It's not a social event. You are going to work to do the work. You are going to school to learn the lessons. You are doing your talk in order to communicate to people. When you make this impersonal, it becomes so beautiful. Each and every experience in life is an opportunity for you to give of yourself. It's an opportunity for you to participate in the dance of life. Your personal mind is not helping you participate in the dance of life. It is making it so you can't participate in the dance of life. You're going to find out. It'll take you a while, but I've experimented with it. There is no place for that personal self. All it is doing is interfering with your life. It's telling you it's helping with your life. Call Paul and see if he knows what Joan said to Mary, because I got to know what it is. Why do you have to know what it is? Why do you have to know what Joan said to Mary? Well, it might not be nice, so what? No, I don't know. In other words, you're scared. You're scared and you want to control the situation and you think that you can do all these things and that somehow that will make you safer. All right? A wise person would not play any of these games ever, not even for a billionth of a second. The world unfolds the way it does. In front of me is what I am supposed to be dealing with, not worrying about what everybody else is doing, etc., etc. I'm going to bring the whole of my being into the moment I'm in and give that moment everything I have for no reason other than it's the moment that life is giving to me and I'm going to give myself to that moment. That's called selfless service. Now you see how this sort of psychological talk is really spiritual. A great being walks into the moment and says to the moment, how can I be of service? That's all you're saying to every moment that unfolds in front of you. How can I interact with you that makes it so you're better off because I did? There are going to be moments that pass in front of you, every moment, aren't there? Moments. There's something in front of you. A whole lot of things aren't in front of you, but there are certain things in front of you. There's no reason to give yourself to the things that aren't in front of you. You can't. They're not in front of you. If you're dealing with something that's not in front of you, you're dealing with your mind. So you deal with what's in front of you, like an athlete. Athletes are taught to bring their whole being into the moment where they are. You watch a football game, you watch the quarterback, you watch a cornerback in defense. They better be there. They better not be thinking about what they did last time. They better not be worrying about whether the other person is going to catch the ball. They better be present in that moment. It's called being in the zone. What does it mean I was in the zone? There was nothing else going on except the club, the ball, and the pin. That's it. That's exactly what the zone is. You should be in the zone every second of your life. Otherwise, you are not giving the best that you have to your life. But your mind thinks that by thinking about it and worrying about it and plotting and planning and conniving, that that's the best that you have. No, it's the opposite. Do you see that? Because your mind's going to argue back. It's going to say, no, I need to worry about this. You don't ever need to worry. Worry destroys you. Just go into sports and worry. Worry that you won't be good enough. Worry that the pass might not go where you want it to go, so you're afraid to pull the trigger. In football, they talk about it all the time. It's really zen. The quarterback throws an interception. They say he's got to have a short memory. He can't, because he's going to have to throw that ball instantaneously, intuitively, when he goes next time. He can't be thinking, oh my God, the guy intercepted last time. He can learn from it. He can learn to be more careful. He can learn to lead the guy better or something like that. But he can't be thinking about being afraid that's going to happen, or he will ruin his flow. It's the same for you every moment of your life. If you are not present in the moment, giving the whole of your being to the moment that's unfolding, but are instead worrying about what happened before, past stuff, like and dislike, you have no idea how good you are. Almost everybody is 10,000 times better than they think they are because they're busy thinking, right? Because you have this handicap. How much better is the music when there's no static? I can't even say 10,000. It's 100,000 better, isn't it? How much better are you when there's no static? Wait till you find out. In every single thing you do. Business, relationships, sports, everything. All right? Whatever you do, you are better off doing it. Putting the whole of your being into what you're doing than you are having stored all this stuff from the past of what you like and dislike and trying to make the moment that's unfolding in front of you match the junk that happened to you or not match from before. All right? And if I'm making a point out of it because you're going to watch, you're going to see that's all you do all the time is be afraid that it'll be like last time or excited because it'll be like last time. And then the truth is you don't even stop with just reacting whether you like it or not. You're much more Western than that. You've decided, I'm going to make it be the way I want. What do you mean? I've stored what I like and what I don't like. It's messing me up completely because I can't enjoy anything unless it's the way I like and not the way I don't like. And of course, it's not going to be that way by itself. So I am going to make it be that way. Really? How are you going to make it be that way? What exactly do you mean when you say, I have this way I want it to be based on my past experiences of what I liked and disliked, and I know it's not going to be that way by itself, so I'm going to devote my life to making it be that way. What exactly do you mean by that? How are you going to do that? Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give my mind another task. What? Figure out how to make everybody and everything be the way I want. Sir, could you repeat that, please? Okay. Here's your job, mind. Figure out how to make every moment that unfolds in front of me be the way I want and never be the way I don't want. Well, your mind's very intelligent. And so what it says, says, well, what about the moments that aren't in front of you? Because there are lots of those. Do they have to be the way you want and not be the way you don't want? No, I don't care about those. Just the ones that are in front of me. Just mind, whatever it is in front of us, I want it to be the way I want. Do you hear what I just said to you? Is that not what you're doing? Do you not want the moments in front of you to be exactly the way you want and never be the way you don't want? And are you looking to make sure? And do you indeed say to your mind, now that we know what we want and what we don't want, make it be that way. Figure out how to be that way. Maybe if I trip over this person, they'll notice me. We're really going to do this, are we? We're going to go out there and try to manipulate the moments in front of us to match. How's that working out, by the way, so far? How's that work out? It doesn't ever work out. And I've given you that discussion before. The moment in front of you is sacred. Every moment, that's like saying, I'm going to make the sunset look the way I want. All right? If you sit there and say, I'm going to make her be the way I want, because I have this way I want a woman to be, and she's very close. But a couple of things are a little different, but I can change that. She's young yet. We can change that. She says she loves me. If she loves me, she'll change. Oh, my God. Run away, please. So the net result is, you're not going to control the moment in front of you. And the very fact that you sit there and think that that's what I want to do, that's a problem, not a solution. So a wise person walks into the moment that's in front of them with a sense of respect, with a sense of honor. They look at that moment. It took 13.8 billion years for that moment to get here. Every single thing had to be the way it was for 13.8 billion years for her to be sitting there right now. That's it, every one of you. If anything had changed, it wouldn't have happened. It had to be exactly the way it was. And that caused the moment to happen. That's true of every moment. That's the nature of things. So you start to look at the moments as gifts. They are presents being given to you, and you have the right to interact with them. They are not things that you complain about. They are not things that you decide how you want them to be based on your past experiences of like and dislike, and then fight with them and complain and do all this stuff with them. You make a complete mess. So we're back to, how does one live a high life? Stop storing the stuff inside. That's the only rule you need, and all the rest will happen. What do you mean? If you don't have a way you want it to be, you will experience the way it is. If you have a way you want it to be, you will not be able to see the way it is. You will only see how it deviates from the way you want it to be. Therefore, you will get ulcers, and you will have tension, and you will be scared, and you will worry, because you have a way you want it to be. It's fine to walk into the moment and say, how are you, moment? How are you? I haven't met you before. I wonder what you're like. Not, I hope you're the one I'm looking for. Those are totally different relationships. I am willing to meet you. Not, I want you to be me. Just come into the moment. Clean. This is getting down to Zen. You're getting down to empty mind. You're coming down to be here now. You're coming down to mindfulness. Come into the moment without preconceived notions of how you need it to be. That doesn't mean that if you have a test, Mickey said, don't study and just come into the moment because it presented itself to you and now let's just see what happens. No, Mickey didn't say that. Mickey said if you have a test, then you study for it. Why? Because you're a student, and that's what you do. But you don't complain. You don't wish you were doing something else. You don't take 50 to 60 to 70% of your consciousness while you're supposed to be studying and be somewhere else. Have you ever sat there and read and realized you didn't read a single thing for 4 pages and you have to go back? You are out on a date or wondering about the last date you had or what's going to happen there. All right, this is what I'm talking about. How much of your life are you wasting in your mind? You are not going to like the answer, right? That's the first stage is, oh my God, really? 60, 70% of my life I've wasted by thinking instead of experiencing? And the answer is yes. And therefore you can't be as good as you would be. So you start to work with this. How? There's so many ways you can meditate, and you should. You meditate, you do mantra. There's so many different things to do. Yoga, whatever it is, all right? In the end, you meditate all you want, do all the mantra you want, you're going nowheres if you continue to store your past experiences inside your mind. You need to get to the point where you stop storing what happened a moment ago inside of you. Don't worry about what you've already stored. We'll deal with that in a minute. Just right now, the moments that are unfolding in front of you, honor them, respect them, appreciate them, pranam to them, and kiss them goodbye. Okay? And see if you can start practicing not storing your likes and dislikes inside of you so that they continue to ruin your life. Just start practicing with that. Well, what about all the stuff that I stored from before? Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just do what's in front of you. Neutralize the experiences that you're having so that you're not storing these things inside of you. If something nice happens inside of you, what do? Renounce it? No. If something nice happens inside of you, experience it, and then say thank you. Thank you. Thank you means it's over. I'm ready for whatever the next thing is. Don't hold on and wait till it happens again, right? Just experience it and let go. Kiss it goodbye. Say thank you for sure. If something not so nice, I know not so nice happens, right? It comes in, it doesn't feel so good. If something not so nice happens, it comes inside of you. Deal with it to the best of your ability. While it is in front of something, stay in front of you for a while, right? It can be a while. Deal with it. Deal with it. All I'm begging you is when it's over, it's over. You settled your problem. This happened, that happened. You had a bad relationship. It broke up. This, whatever it is, there will be a time in which it's over. And so now it's not in front of me anymore. And it doesn't have to be like a big thing. It can be breaking into tiny little pieces. This person that was causing me trouble, she's still going to be there tomorrow, but she's not doing the same thing right now in front of me. That part's over. She said something not so nice to me, then it's over. So you let it go. You neutralize it. You do not build it inside of you. All right? I'm telling you, unless you do that, all those practices you do are not going to do anything. They're nice. It's good. Maybe you meditate makes you feel better. When you come back out here, if you're continuing to do this, you will never know the state I'm talking about. And if you do, you'll know it for a moment, and you'll talk about the good meditation you had. I'm not interested. I want it to be your state of being. I want you to enjoy every single moment of every single second of your life. How's that? I like you. I want it to be like that. And I know it can be like that. So you practice letting go, and you know what I mean. You know the mind don't want to let that stuff go, right? One thing I do with my mind, I watch it, is you have a conversation with somebody. Okay, yes, I shared my opinion. You share your opinion. We talk, whatever. And now you're gone. How come it keeps going on in the mind? It keeps thinking about what you could have said. It keeps thinking about, did I say the right thing? Were they happy with it? Or whatever it is, typical stuff. No, it's over. When the conversation's over outside, the conversation's over inside. Because if you think you're helping anything to redo and do all this junk inside your head, you're not. So you start practicing this little by little. You can also meditate. You can also do things. It's helpful to get that center, stay clear. But you better do this. Now what's going to happen? You're going to learn to do this. Little by little, you're going to learn. And life's going to get a lot easier. The first layer is called low-hanging fruit. Just these things that happen that bother you for absolutely no reason. The driver in front of you is going too slow. This happens, that happens, just rain, whatever it is. Stuff that's meaningless, and you used to let it bother you. Now you let it go. All right? And I'm telling you, you feel much wholer, much greater. All right? Because you're not storing the new stuff, pushing it down on top, the old stuff will start to come up. The old stuff will start to come up internally by itself. You'll be driving along and all of a sudden you're crying. You don't even know why. And then all of a sudden you're thinking about when your parents got divorced 25 years ago. Good. Don't come to me and say it doesn't work. No, that is it working. Well, what do I do with that? That's always bothered me, but I didn't have to think about it until I started letting go of the other stuff. That's right. That's what's going to happen. Because you're not shoving the new stuff down. The old stuff's going to come up. All right? Well, what do I do about that? The exact same thing you did with the new stuff. Now that you're better at it, you have learned to let go and to neutralize the moments unfolding in front of you. This is just like another moment folding in front of you. You will know how to let it go now because you've been practicing. And believe it or not, it is so perfect that nothing will come up except in the exact order it needs to and is ready to, and all you have to do is practice neutralizing, releasing. I do not want you inside of me. I don't want new stuff inside of me, and I don't want the old stuff inside of me. And when I'm telling you everything, when it comes up, let it go. Just let it go. Offer it up, whisper it out, and you're going to start to do what's called purification. That is spiritual purification. It's purifying this junk that you have inside of you. How do I do it? You don't. You just stop resisting it. It will come up naturally on its own. It does not want to be in there. That's why it keeps trying to come up. You just keep pushing it back down, don't you? All right? Don't. And even how small it is, you're going to see these tiny little things. They bothered you, and you stored them in there. Let them go. Don't judge yourself. Don't get mad at yourself. Nothing. Just let go. Let go. And then what's going to happen, you'll reach a point where you have let go enough. And I don't care if you ever studied yoga, if you know a single thing about the chakras, if you know anything about the chi or Shakti flow, you will start to know about it firsthand. Once you cleanse that system sufficiently, you're going to start to feel this flow of energy feeding you from inside. It's just flowing up all the time, all day, every second. It's just pouring up inside of you, uplifting you, raising you. That is the Shakti, that's spirit, that's the chi. It was blocked by all this stuff and all this psychological mumbo-jumbo. You're wasting all your energy. Now you're not. And you become smarter, you become sharper, you become clearer, you're better at every single thing because all this energy is now focused. And then it will start to go higher and higher, and eventually it will reach the point between your eyebrows. And it will flow there all the time. You just feel this constant flow pouring out from that point. Master called that the seat of consciousness, seat of Christ consciousness. Why? When your attention, your consciousness, feels the flow of that energy there, it doesn't pay attention to anything below that point. The two chakras, the top of the head and the third eye, when the Shakti, when the energy reaches that level, naturally, because you've cleansed enough, it's over. Because now your consciousness gets pulled to the beauty of that energy flow, just like you get pulled to any other beautiful thing. And your mind can't get the energy to create that noise. All right, you don't have to meditate, you do, but you don't have to. Because not enough energy is going down into the personal mind or the personal heart or any of the lower chakras in order to activate them. The energy's staying at the two highest levels. But you don't need to know all that stuff. I don't even like talking to you about it. When you know about it, you'll come and tell me about it. I've had people just sit there and say, God, I don't know what happened. I was practicing this. I read that book, your book, this and that, and I started practicing this, and now what's happening? I feel this constant flow pouring out in my forehead. And I'll simply ask the question, well, what's your experience with that? Whenever I pay attention to it, my mind stops. Of course it does. because you're paying attention to a higher energy. The mind needs the energy lower in order to do that. So all your spiritual path, your personal life becomes beautiful, your relationship life, everything becomes beautiful, your business life becomes beautiful, and now your spiritual life, the more you let go, and you'll reach a point where enough joy and ecstasy and love pours inside of you, and it becomes so beautiful that it becomes your whole life. All this happens very naturally. It's not a forceful kind of a thing. And even when that takes place, that this energy is pouring up in the higher centers, you're constantly feeling it flow out of there, that's nothing. That's like your launch pad. From there, the yogis, those who have reached the great states, realize at some point, it's not just the beauty of the experience, it's the yearning to know where the energy is coming from. What is the source of this beautiful love and beautiful energy? And so you relax back into the source, and it will take you. That's why the Shakti will take you the whole way. Spirit will take you the whole way. They asked Christ when he was leaving. The disciples said, you taught us all this stuff, and we really don't understand a whole lot of what you talked about, right? And now you said you're going to leave. Well, how will we get there? We don't have a teacher. You are our teacher. You are our master. You taught us all this stuff. How will we get there? What did he say? I'm paraphrasing. I will send unto you the Holy Spirit, the great comforter, and through this all things shall be revealed unto you. That's the Shakti. That's what we're talking about. By the time that energy starts flowing, and it is the great comforter, you just feel ecstasy, joy, love pouring up inside of you all the time, then you fall into it. It will teach you everything you need to know. It will take you the entire way. All right? So we went from high down as to why we're not there. You see why you're not there, don't you? You made a mess in there. Well, you got to clean up. All right? And now you talk about real high. Very good. Work on these things. Jagrata.